Hi everybody, Geraldine Rose here. I've been calling this poor thing the turd card. That's not very big of me. This is the general idea of how this card was supposed to turn out. I missed the workshop. I was having computer trouble again. It turns out the BIOS needed flashing, and in the meantime, I was getting all these boot network error messages trying to get it up and running. So I was upset. And I should know that from all my time with horses that you never get on a horse when you're upset. I was crafting. I made so many bad decisions making this card, as you will see as we go through. It starts out off on a good few directions, and then I just send it all over the place. And as I said in the beginning, it ends up looking like a big brown turd. I started out with the Nina Desert Storm cardstock. This is 100 pounds, so it's good enough to act as your card base. I chopped out a lot of hugs die cuts because we were putting alphabet dies down as the background for this card. So for me, that was the Lawn Fawn sending big hugs, the Simon Says Stamp CZ hugs, a lot of alphabet dies cutting out hugs and chopping them off the penny black hugs edger with the hugs that goes over top of the part that's cut out in the back. I'm using Mod Podge to tack them all down, putting my saran wrap or press and seal back over the top of it so it doesn't get gummy in between. Then I grabbed out the Altenew, the Arches folder, and I put saran wrap on the one side of it so that Mod Podge wouldn't stick to it, which is what I'm peeling off here. So I've got an embossing over top of that. I bring in some distress crayons. Now I'm going to start my distressing. I'll be trying out a combination of both the pearlescent ones and the normal ones. I'm sticking to the green and the brown tones at first though. They look a bit chunky at first, but what you're going to do is once you've laid them down, you're going to bring your finger in or something else. I don't care about my finger getting dirty. You smudge them into the background, merge them all with each other. They're going to go into the little cracks that the Mod Podge has created, that the folder has created, that the edge of the alphabet dies have created. And because they're distress crayons, you can bring in water and distress them. So you will pick up where the water spots have been. I'm coming in with some more just to bring the red tones in as well too. Rooting through my bins, I couldn't find a red distress crayon. I was like, oh, I don't have any of those. But wait, I've got gelatos. You guys remember gelatos? It's still working. So that's what I put down there. This is where I should have left it at that. I put the gesso over top of all of this because gesso will give it a really good texture, forgetting that, of course, gesso doesn't dry clear. It dries white. So I had to start the whole background over again because none of what was underneath came up to the top. So using the gelato, wiping some of it off, using the distress crayons again, smudging them in so they get into all the cracks that are really going on now. Bringing in some Distress Oxide inks in the red and the green, putting them down so that the red is more on the outside, the green's more in the middle. The original card that Carrie Ann had, which is the one that I'm casing, it as well had like a yellow spritz in the middle, so I will do that later. I'm distressing this layer now because the oxide inks, the gelato, the distress crayon, they will all water distress. Picking that up with my towel. There, okay. It was at this point when I lifted the towel up that I realized I'd really sent it in a direction I didn't want to go. So how do we reclaim that? Let's get out something shiny. So we put on some solar paste over top of the letters and the ridges to try and accentuate those and to lighten that panel up because it had darkened so much. And I thought, oh, maybe if I just put some splatter in. So got out some distress paint. I'm flicking it off the block here to see if this is going to help. Nope. Still doesn't have that feel that I'm going for. That when you feel it inside you that, oh yeah, this is good. I like this. All right, just move on. Get your hugs down over the top. Grab your shimmer spray out because you got to put shimmer on this for the effect that Carrie Ann had through her workshop. So this is the red one first. I'm putting in the green one next and then a shot of the yellow just right in the middle. This was my first time working with the shimmers from All Too New. I didn't know how heavy to go with them because I wasn't used to the nozzles yet the way that I am with the micas and the oxide sprays and their sprays. I grabbed out one of the micas here. I'm just tapping a little bit of that in to bring in some really concentrated shine. Oops, that won't go through when I'm trying to trim the panel down. Plan B, the die cut. It failed as well. Plan C, let's get the scissors out. I bet you we've all got 5 or 6 pairs sitting beside us right now, right? Ta-da! Scissors got her done. The old background matting, I wanted it a little bit darker red so that it just doesn't disappear behind the red panel. Putting some foam tape down on the back because, of course, with all that stuff that we've got on top of it, we don't want it warping. The foam tape is going to help to stabilize it. Now, this is the cool part. This is using the matte embossing powder. Watch this. Watch what it sticks to. Everything except the hugs. And the hugs was the only thing that didn't have the gesso and the Mod Podge on it, right? I thought, hey, now that was a neat thing to find out. So there's one good thing that came out of all the trials and tribulations that I've got going on with this card. I'm like, okay, I can do something with this. Of course, grabbing out my favorite stencils, all in Create, lots of hearts. I like mixing the clear crackle paste or the clear one of the other clear paste with solar paste. It gives an opalescent effect. So we're going to do that again too, but we're going to cascade those hearts down behind where I know I'm putting the eventual rustic rose down on the top. And of course, not covering up the hugs that's down at the bottom from the hugs edger from Penny Black. Get all your goopy goops on the edge cleaned up. Do a little house cleaning with your stencils and your palette knives and your board so that nothing's stuck to it. While it's drying, let's work on the inside of the card. Alt new. Bad days happen. Yeah, we know it. Hey, I experienced it even doing this card. I'm going to add some subtle differences by changing the inks in the red tones through here, just lightly pressing for the smaller ones. You don't want to scorch them too bad. We're throwing down one of the obligatory custom signature stamps on the back, gently drawing that up. I don't want that white foam showing, so I am grabbing an alcohol marker and I am edging it all the way around underneath with that as well. I thought, I am mixed media, so I grabbed out a couple of the Nouveau pastes and I am edging it, panel all the way around, mixing the copper red and one of the light pearlescent greens. Because I'm going to be using alcohol markers, I need a Copic friendly ink. Use the Honeybee, the Intense Black. It is a Copic friendly one. Stamp down the All Too New Rustic Rose stamp set twice so that I wouldn't wreck the delicate lines in this particular one. I'll get the bottom inside of the card while I've got that stamp out. So I did the rose in the top in red, wiped it off, grabbed the green, and I'm using the green on the bottom, but very light colors so that they just kind of fade into the background there. We're going to set that panel down. I think I did put something on top of it to make certain it was flat, and we're going to start alcohol marker coloring. I like starting out with the darker colors first. I tend to keep my color swatches to the right so I can choose which color I'm going to use next. The dilemma with that is those are on white paper, and this is on Nina, which is a very light beige. So it is going to change the color of your markers as you're setting them down. I don't have a super crazy collection of the markers. I tend to use more the inks and the paints and the sprays, as you guys have seen. But yes, I can actually color. It's a lot easier to recover something that's been watercolored rather than one that's just been alcohol marker colored. That's why I am really taping this die down so that it does not shift when I am running it through my big shot. Here's the moment of truth. I'm going to poke it out. Did I get it set right? Yes. Oh, even edges all the way around. Success. Inside of the card. Very unusual. I had some leftover die cuts, so I'm going to put them on the inside. I start with the outside letters, and then I space the ones inside of that so that we've got an even spacing in there. I'm going to bring in just a couple of mica, small little splatters on top of the rose, and then the green on the bottom leaves. putting a lot of glue down on the back of this because it's going to need it to be able to stick to that gessoed panel. You're not going to see this part. I ended up taking an X-Acto knife and actually cutting that rose back up off of the back panel and fixing it. I stared and stared and stared at it for a couple of weeks and I just didn't like it. Like I said, I kept calling it the turd card. Red and green are complementary colors. And what do complementary colors make? Brown, mud brown. Anywho, I tried fixing it by repainting the shimmer sprays over top of specifically the letters to bring them out, putting a bit more yellow in there, putting red in certain spots, put all the confettis and all the enamel dots back down. You can see here's my decision-making process, and usually I just listen until the voices of my ancestors tell me to stop. Obviously, I didn't do that earlier in the card, but I'm paying a bit better attention now. So, same thing, decision-making process with putting the heart down. So this is now the finished card. This one is. So a lot more contrast in it. I'm a little bit happier with it. It's now good enough that I wouldn't feel bad about sending this out to somebody. You guys all get out there, do some craft and have some fun. Just make a big mess like I did with this one. You'll learn something. Let's all be that change we want to see in the world. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.